Hello everyone, welcome to a slightly different kind of review today. I'm reviewing a course, specifically Jason Miller's Level Up course, which is a course that caught my eye. Jason reached out to me a good few months ago and asked me if I would be interested in taking any of his courses to, well, take a look at what they're like and maybe make a review. And I said, are you kidding? I'd love to. I've heard a lot of good things about Jason's courses, so of course I was really quite excited to find out more. And I knew that his Hecate course was very popular, but a couple of days before Jason reached out to me, actually Jack Grail reached out to me asking me if I'd like to take part in his Hail Hecate course, which is finishing in a couple of weeks' time, and so you can expect a review of that course quite soon as well. So I said to Jason, I'm so sorry, I'm already doing a Hecate course. Shall I have a look at your other courses? And he said, yeah, take a look. And sure enough, there was a course there called Level Up, which looked really interesting to me. So it's a course that is designed to be more advanced, right? So the idea is that most people are likely to first of all take Jason's strategic sorcery course, and then they will be in a good place to take the Level Up course. I found it no problem at all, in fact, following the Level Up course. And by that, I'm not meaning, I'm already so advanced. No, not at all. Just to say that everything was provided for people who hadn't taken the strategic sorcery course beforehand. So, he regularly says throughout the course, okay, those of you who've taken the strategic sorcery course, you'll already know that this, blah, 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 you'll already have access to these materials. Those of you who haven't taken the strategic sorcery course, here are the materials that you're going to need, catch up. And so it's absolutely possible to do that. I haven't taken the strategic sorcery course. I hear it's fantastic, but no, today's review is specifically about the Level Up course. So that's the first thing. It is accessible to anyone who is interested in the material. So what is the material? The material is Jason's synthesis of all of the knowledge that he's gained so far on the different levels of the self. Now, you know that in ceremonial magic, for example, we talk about the lower self and the higher self, right? Jason differentiates that not just in those two, lower and higher, but rather in many different levels of the self, right? So in the course, he's talking about the levels in terms of height, right? So the higher levels and the lower levels. He's since then told me that he's come to the conclusion that talking in levels of higher may not actually be the best representation. But anyway, that's kind of the paradigm that this course is built around. It's a metaphor ultimately, so in my view, it doesn't really matter. But he goes from the very concrete physical material self, and then he goes very gradually through 7 different layers of the self. You see, I'm going up. It's just ingrained, isn't it? It's and so you go through, first of all, just these really beautiful rituals for coming to terms with the different parts of yourself. Not just coming to terms, but getting to meet in some lessons, right? Getting to understand how some levels of the self very subtly overlap with other levels of the self, and Jason's really great at helping you to make those differentiations, to understand where those fuzzy borders actually are, and how you can then use those parts of the self, which, I mean, mind-blowing stuff, absolutely fantastic material. To note, Jason has great experience with Vajrayana Buddhism. Okay, I think that's quite an important thing to note, because quite a lot, I'm not going to say all, but quite a lot of his philosophies do rely on Buddhism and specifically Vajrayana Buddhism, right? So, when he's talking about the various ways of noticing, for example, the channels in the subtle body, those really rang a bell for me because I've been learning about Vajrayana Buddhism. It might be something quite new for somebody who hasn't been learning about Vajrayana Buddhism. Okay. Nevertheless, it's all very well explained. What can I say to you? What else can I say to you? Okay, maybe a little down note would be possibly on the presentation. Okay, so at least the first couple of they're not videos, they're just audio files which you receive in through his Dropbox links, and the quality of the recording is it was problematic for me for the first couple of lessons. It gets better. It was always quite low volume, all right, the recording. It seems like his microphone's too far away from him simply, and picking up every kind of shake of the table, it's like his microphone cable seems to be knocking against the microphone. So yes, in terms of the presentation, it is sometimes lacking. Jason has told me that he is going to be spending the major part of 2023 cleaning up his courses, but nevertheless, the experience that I had so far, apart from this little presentation issue, just the material itself, right, the information itself that he's sharing with me, with you, with his audience, is of very high value, right? Very, very high value. Not just because it's good to know, but actually because it's useful, right? It's directly useful. And he introduces all of these various really powerful rituals that you can use to experiment with that level of yourself. And the outcome is that you can identify with a particular level of yourself, the particular level of yourself that is going to be most useful for this particular working that you're doing, right? That you're approaching, this particular outcome that you're looking for. You can then decide, okay, what's the best level for me to be working at? And he is really sharing some very powerful methods. I'm assuming many of which he's picked up through his years in Nepal studying Tibetan Buddhism. So those are my thoughts. Is it worth the money? 100%. Although I do think that it needs to be polished up a little bit for it to be perceived as being worth that much. But the veneer is really something that is, it's just the first approach, isn't it? It's like first impressions. Once you get past that, it is great material. It's really, really nice, nicely explained material, because these are very, very abstract concepts, and to be able to put them in words that are graspable by us. Because language, of course, isn't designed to share information about the metaphysical realms. Language is designed to talk about commerce, right? And is to talk about ow, you've hurt me, or whatever, right? To talk about physical things. So he uses language in very skillful ways to share with us his personal experience of these various levels, so that you can in turn experience them yourself. And I think that that's an incredible skill to have, and a lot of this is done through practical work. In fact, the very first ritual that he shares in the preliminary lesson, actually, I'm not sure if it's preliminary or lesson number 1, whatever, where you're actually performing this ritual for the benefit of all yourselves, is so beautiful, and something that I've done several times over the past few months, and that I can certainly see myself doing going forward into the future. There we go. Those are my initial thoughts. Links down below, of course. Maybe one last thing that I can tell you about is lesson 6, in which you are handed an astral, as lesson 6 is about the astral self, right? And in lesson 6, you are given an astral staff, which I have been experimenting with, and it's a very, very powerful thing. A staff for many things, certainly for conjuring, certainly for enacting your will in the astral realm. Very, very powerful methods. Oh my goodness, I can't go through all the lessons, but there's another lesson in which you're identifying with these 2 very, very powerful deities, and you're embodying them, and yeah, that's another really paradigm shifting experience. So yeah, really, really great stuff. Yeah, don't let the first couple of lessons audio issues deter you, for sure. There we are. Those are my thoughts. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do check out the links down below as always, and yeah, I'll see you very soon with another video. Yeah, probably next week or the week after for Jack Grail's Hail Hecate course as well. All right, take care. See you. Bye-bye.